You know what I need, other than, my cat as an executive producer, who you can see is, absent today. I need somebody here who can help me get all this stuff set up and get it running every morning. Go in and, start the watch party and all of those things that, have to be done. Remember to turn down the volume on my cell phone. Because without doing all of those things, the show could happen. It just wouldn't be, quite as good. And, I guess every time that you add something, it does add more work, which clearly, is what I'm dealing with. But it adds more work, which makes it more complicated, longer to set up, longer to get running. And I would love to be able to just kind of hit go live and have it, go live everywhere without having to take all these extra steps. The world isn't perfect. Well, before we begin, I would like to point out yet once again that Dunkin' makes coffee. They make, really good coffee. Coffee, really, in my opinion, coffee is coffee, and whatever it is, it's just still coffee. If you drink the real stuff and not those foo-foo, whatever, mocha latte, crappuccino drinks, then you know that coffee is, coffee. Except for that place that has the, the mermaid on it, which, tends to burn and have really bitter coffee. Everywhere else has, really good coffee. Well, at Dunkin', it's even better because all those other places, they give you 3 options: small, medium, or large. And that's it. It's the same everywhere you go. Small, medium, large. That's it. That's it. No other options. Dunkin', there is another option. See, they looked at everywhere else and they said, hey, there's only 3 options. We should kick it up a notch. Let's make it 4. So they've got small, medium, large, just like everybody else. But they added an extra large. And if you're anything like me in the morning, you need that extra boost because, you're just extra in every way. So get the extra large from Dunkin' because, Dunkin' has extra large. They got you covered. It definitely works. All right, we are up, we are running, and we are talking about freedom as soon as we go live. So let's get this going. You are listening to The American Soundbite, a podcast that features common sense thoughts of an everyday American. This is the start of the most valuable 10 minutes of your day, so congratulations on joining us. I'm certainly glad that you are here today. Hey, before we begin, you just watched me start a watch party on Facebook, and if you're listening to the podcast through the iHeartMedia podcast app, then you should find the share button. Let your friends on social media, whether that be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, let them know that you start your day by listening to the American Soundbite because it gets your brain juices flowing and gets you prepared to take on every single challenge that you're going to be faced with today. The more people that listen, the better your world gets. I really appreciate the help. So freedom, it isn't free. The American dream isn't a gift that's handed to you and me because, we were born in America. Quite simply, the American dream, is the freedom that we enjoy each and every day. However, that freedom that freedom that we enjoy, the freedom to, well, live our own lives, the freedom to make our own decisions, the freedom to choose our own path, whether it be in our career or with our loved ones or in our lifestyle or whatever it is, that freedom is something that, well, we enjoy and many times take for granted. But it's important for you and for me and for our neighbors and for our communities, for everybody to understand that our freedoms to live a life of our choosing isn't free. Those freedoms take work, they take effort, they take an understanding that, well, freedom for you, freedom for me, means that we have to understand that means that the people down the street, our neighbors, the people in the communities next to us, people across the country from us, that they all share that same freedom, those same rights. And this is where it gets a little complicated. And this is where, well, honestly, government tends to screw it up. Because freedom means that I get to say what I want. Freedom means that you can choose to listen or to, leave. And you can say what you want. Even if, while I'm sitting here professing something that's crucially important to me, if you decide to turn around and argue the exact opposite point, freedom means that I have to, well, be willing and actually take the action to accept and encourage you to do that. See, our freedom means that we need to be accepting of our fellow Americans and the choices that they make. That means that if they choose to live a life that is different than you, if they choose to practice a religion that's different than you, if they choose to, well, love and or marry somebody who is different than you would love and marry, or work at a job or a career that's different, or use products that are different, or drive in a style that is different. If they want to commute on a bicycle instead of drive a car, or they want to walk to work instead of, well, take a bus. We as Americans have forgotten the fact that our freedoms, that our personal liberties require us to accept the fact that not everybody will want to, and certainly should not be required to have the same opinions, the same values, live the same lifestyle as you or me. In society today, I don't know if it's coming from the educators at our universities or even in our elementary schools, or if I honestly don't know if it's just coming out of a disdain, a hatred for the very freedom that is America. But there has been a concerted campaign for most of my life to whittle away at that freedom. If you grew up in the 70s and 80s as I did, then you'll remember all the talk coming out of California, and it was the PC police, the political correctness, and you can't say that because it's not politically correct. Well, those things have become ingrained in society today, to a point where you can't say something that might offend somebody. Or what do the kids call it? They don't get offended. They get, oh God, what is the word? It's, whatever. They get triggered. That's it. You can't say something that triggers somebody. You've got to think before you speak. You've got to protect their their right to emotional well-being or feeling good or whatever. I don't get it. Because again, in America, well, I'm free to say whatever I want. You're free to disagree with me verbally and loudly right in front of me. But I also have the freedom to walk away. I have the freedom to disagree with you. We have the right, the freedom, the ability to disagree on any number of topics. And we can share that and we can speak that at will. But with the start of the PC police and that whole political correctness movement that has now moved to, you can't say anything that offends anybody. You can't do anything that might upset somebody. And it's ridiculous. It's really disgusting because it is the antithesis of what our freedoms are. It is the antithesis of what America is. Because our freedoms mean that we can disagree. Our freedoms mean that in our society, unlike so many places around the world, we can disagree on the most core concepts of life. But we can still live in the same community. We can still go to the same organizations. We can still pray at the same church. We can vote in the same elections. We can work at the same jobs. We can live our lives harmoniously, even though we disagree at the core to very important topics. Our freedom means that we understand that not everybody thinks the way that we do, or lives the way that we do, or believes or worships or anything the way that we do, but that we can still get along and survive in society, not because we are all alike, but because we are all different. And we all understand that our freedom to be different is the core value of America and is what makes America great. Because there's not some supreme ruler, i.e. the government, that's telling us how to pray or what to believe in or where to work or what to do or anything. The government is not that, important to us. Our freedom is important to us. But our freedom means that we have to accept that when somebody down the street wants to shout that they, don't believe the thing that you believe is the most important, that you and I have to protect that freedom. You and I have to honor what it is that they're saying, because they're saying it with the thing that is most important, which is our freedom. People are free to make their own choices, to live their own lives. And while, yes, we're also free to encourage them to change that, we cannot require them to live a certain way, because that's not freedom. America is all about freedom. We have lost hundreds of thousands of lives in war protecting the ideals of freedom. And freedom means that you get to say things that offend me. Freedom means that you get to do things that I disagree with. Freedom means that what I do in my life, while you can't agree or disagree, you still have to be accepting of the choices that I make and the things that I do. And in that acceptance, in that understanding, and putting that ideal of freedom first and foremost in everything that we do, is what makes America great. The American society understands that we're all different. But accepting the fact that our differences is what brings us together. Our differences is what makes America work. And our differences and accepting of those is what makes our freedom possible. When we forget that, when we let, whether it's educators or it's government or any organization, start to infringe on our freedom, start to tell us how we should live, that is the biggest threat to our freedom. It's the biggest threat to our country. It's the biggest threat to all of our lifestyles. Our freedom means we get to choose. We get to choose whatever it is that we want. And no organization or government or structure or entity or person can force us to do things differently. Our freedom's under attack. It's under attack in a very passive, backward, soft-spoken way, hoping that we don't catch on until it's too late, until it can't be changed. But the reality is that we are free. We're free to speak our minds. We're free to dress the way that we like. We're free to go places that we choose to go. We don't need permission. We don't need to worry about, well, whether it's the right words or the wrong words or the right shirt or the wrong shirt. We can go do the things that we choose. But in order for our freedoms to remain, we, you and me, all of us, we need to fight to protect those freedoms. Political correctness, that's just a way to change our behavior. It's a way to get us to accept that our freedoms are less. All of these things telling us, well, you're bad if you believe this, or you're dumb if you believe that, or whatever it is. Those are things, whoever says them, even if we think them or say them about somebody else, those are the things that erode our freedom. Those are the things that are killing the American way of life. And we need to police ourselves. We need to look internally. And when we want to judge somebody or say, well, they shouldn't do that or whatever, we need to stop ourselves. We need to understand that people living differently than you and I means that, well, nobody can tell us what to say, how to think, or how to live. And we need to constantly fight against anybody who wants to tell us what to think, what to do, or how to live. You have been listening to The American Soundbite. This is a podcast that features common sense thoughts of an everyday American. This has been, well, the last 14 minutes have been the most valuable 10 minutes of your day, and I really appreciate you joining us for the conversation today. Hey, before I let you go, if you liked the content of what we talked about today, if you liked, well, the format of the show overall, click that like button. Let me know and, encourage me to keep doing it. If you have any thoughts or comments or criticisms of what it is that I was talking about, put it down in the comment section. I will read those, and it will affect, change in the show overall. While you're doing that, the share button is right next to that like button. Let your friends, your family members, your coworkers, the people who really need it, let them know that the American Soundbite is the best way to start their day. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us. I hope you have a great day, and God bless. And that is a wrap. The podcast has been recorded. Actually, it was aired live on Spreaker.com. And it is probably right now, instantly being shared to every podcast company, hosting, whatever, that's out there. So whether you listen to it on Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts or iHeartMedia, TuneIn Radio even, you can hear the American Soundbite. All you got to do is type that into the search bar, download our episodes. You can listen to them all 100, and I think it's been 120 episodes so far. You can listen to them all. You can say, hey, I really enjoy this. Or you can say, boy, that guy really pisses me off. But, because some episodes will do both. And, the more you listen, the more you learn, and the better it gets for everybody. So thanks a lot for joining us. You can tell that the tone of these last couple and, well, the next couple of weeks worth of episodes are really kind of getting us ready for the 4th of July and the celebration of our independence, the celebration of our freedom. And so I'm working on, well, topics that relate to that, on an attitude that reflects that. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to celebrating our firework-less independence here this year, because, you know, we would never want to get together in groups because there's a virus out there. So again, thanks a lot.